Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Anonymous, and in this channel, we talk about gang stalking. We talk about how I'm dealing with it. We talk about manipulation, dark psychology. We talk about pretty much every single aspect of gang stalking, including how I manage to live my life while dealing with gang stalking. So, in this video, I want to talk to you about the mechanics of the shadow. So, the shadow is, I want to tell you first what the shadow is. So, when you're getting gang stalked, there is going to be a point where you are simply going to start feeling a sensation. And this sensation is nothing like you have ever felt before. Nothing that, well, at least most people who are unaware of gang stalking have no idea what it is, have never felt it before, and this sensation. So because you know nothing of the sensation, gang stalkers can make the sensation turn into a lot of things. So let me tell you. So first of all, I want to tell you that your mind is always picking up what is around you. Always. Even when you are not paying attention to it. For example, there have been times where when you're getting gang stalked and your mind is tired, your sensitivity to everything that goes around you is increased significantly. Now, when I was at the gym, I was wearing my earphones and I overheard people directing at me insults: baboso, pendejo, whore, all of these insults. Two of which I saw the people actually pointing these at me. Like, they pointed and they literally, it was so obvious. It was undeniably obvious that these were directed at me. And even in one instance, I looked at this person and she got shocked that I hurt her. So, keeping that in mind, that in itself will tell you that when you're not paying attention, your mind will pick up things. So that's that. All right. Also, the sensitivity of your ears when you're getting gang stalked is increased, and it can get increased to such extent that when someone is whispering something, you hear it like you will feel your ears perk up. You will feel like vibrations, and then you're gonna hear those as if someone was whispering that directly into your ears. So that's that. Now, the shadow, I want to call it shadow gang stalking sensation, direct energy weapons. So those are the same thing. All right, those are the same thing. Now, this happened the last time that I'm gonna tell you a couple of stories, a couple of things that I experienced in order to set the stage, to explain to you the mechanics of the shadow. So this happened like 2 weeks last week, like 2 weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago, where I was at work, and then I saw my boss, Bernice Rivero, with absolutely no context. She looked at me and she said, "Spiders." Like that. She was in the back. She was prepping the truck for the next day or something. No, she wanted me to help her put batteries away. She's a woman. I'm a dude. I work out. So typically, it's if I'm there, it is I who is told, and I'm the only one that has a non-managerial position at work. So she put me to put batteries away. But she looked at me and she literally said, "Spiders." Just like that. No context. It had nothing to do with work. Nothing. I didn't say anything, but I saw her. And then 2 days later, I was in my car and I was parked on over here, like a block away from here. And literally, I began feeling spiders Like I know there's no spiders around, and I already know the mechanics of the shadow. I already know the mechanics of the shadow. So I know so that's when I put two together. She said that, so that I picked up on it. And then my brain, the shadow was manifested as spiders. Like I was like trying to sleep. It was right before I tried to sleep. And then I felt like the spiders crawling up here, and then here, and then here. And then I had like five spiders. I had five spiders. I knew it was a sensation, but these are indiscernible from truth because they are produced by your nervous system. The nervous system is what produces the sensations. Now, that is one instance. Another instance was when I was taking care of a customer, right? I was just working. And then the customer says, he just looked at me. I don't remember exactly what he said, but the same thing happened where he said shit, with a gang stalking mocking face. And then that was when I didn't know how this worked. I didn't know yet, but I felt like if my shoe was filling up with shit. I am not exaggerating. It literally just felt like shit. Like there was an asshole underneath my foot, and it was just vomiting excrement. And then the excrement, it even felt warm, and it was like filling up my shoe. Ugh. It was so real. It really was. So before that, me being the sadistic person, I was imagining like, oh my god, it would be awful if I would feel blades coming from the floor. And damn, that's exactly what I felt. Blades coming down from the floor up, and that was incredibly painful. So, and the only way that goes away is if you shake your feet or if you're holding it. So I was at work, so I was just like tapping my foot for the damn sensation to go away. So I am here at work working while I like it, and I just feel a sensation just of pain. Just I feel blades, just an infinite blade growing from the floor and pushing underneath, and then just fucking stabbing my feet. Then another one was when I was at the shelter, and I stepped on a thumbtack. I felt a pain. Me, because I will always, when I'm getting gang stalked, if I feel pain, regardless of where it comes from, I'm gonna feel the pain, but I'm just gonna like ignore it, and then I'm just gonna. So, and someone was watching, and someone said, as soon as I did it, so I know that he was watching me. So I felt the pain, and then I just calmly took it out, threw it in the trash. And I went about my day. But let me tell you, that hurt like a mofo. But I ignored it. Now, a couple of days later, I was at work with my boots. And guess what? I felt the exact same pain as if I had felt a thumbtack. Like the exact same one. Like my foot replicated. My nervous system replicated that pain. I'm sorry, I need to slow down. So my nervous system replicated that pain, and it got even worse. It then felt like if blood was pooling underneath my foot, and I took my shoe off. I think I was wearing Crocs actually. I took my shoe off. I was wearing Crocs, yeah. So I took my shoe off, and there was nothing. There was no thumbtack, no blood, nothing. Even though I even feel the warmth of the blood underneath my foot. Now, in another story. Excrement, blades. Now, which one? There's so many of these. Okay, well, there was one time where I was really tired. But, I smoked. I'm not gonna lie to you. I smoked some tea or some amphetamine, and then I was trying to go to sleep. I when normally I can't sleep. I sleep, but this time I had I had focus on sensations so much, that they get stronger whenever you focus on them. So I was trying to sleep, and I was horny as hell. So I was sleeping, trying to, and then I began like I felt the sensations, and then I imagined like a sand, like if my foot was getting sanded. So then the sensations took the form of sandpaper, and then I just felt like it began just sanding my foot down. And then I imagined a ceiling fan on my foot, just hitting my foot, and then the sensation turned into a ceiling fan, and then it was just, I felt the blade of the ceiling fan just hitting las aspas. And then I imagined a three-way. And I was trying to sleep, and it was because, oh my god, I was thinking in my head, I was like, oh, the gang stalkers want me to stay awake and want me to keep me horny so that I would want to go look for sex. I was like kind of understanding the gang stalking sensation, the shadow, but I didn't have a comprehensive understanding of it. So I was trying to sleep, and then I swear to God, I felt like two bodies were like, I felt like they were like ghosts, and they were like, Efren. I even heard them murmuring my name. I swear to God, and they were like, Efren, or anonymous. And then they were like trying to get me horny. It was the hottest thing ever. So then I began to imagine a kitty, a cat. And then I swear to God, it was the most realist thing I have ever felt. It was just like a cat. Literally, it was a cat. And I even felt it like when it was like licking its little paw, and it was like purring, and it was the craziest thing ever. And then I began to feel like a mouth blowing air onto me, just like that shit was crazy. That was better than the freaking monster. So before that happened, the first time that this force turned into something that like had a form that was truly frightening, was it turned into like this hunched monster that had needles made out of wood. Imagine like the stick that the Master Yoshi from fucking Dragon Ball Z has, but imagine it like this size, and it was and really thin and actually flexible. So imagine this is the plan of my foot. So I imagine like this wooden thing. I don't have anything that I can show you. Well, this like this. So it felt like this, like it was like this. Watch. So I felt it on my foot, and I felt it go like that, and then it would actually be like, and it was like teasing me that like, and it was teasing me like, I'm gonna stab you. So I didn't hear the I'm gonna stab you. I'm using it to illustrate what I felt. So it felt like, I'm gonna stab you, and then the thing went like, nah, like that, literally. And then it was like, again, I'm gonna stab you, I'm gonna fucking stab you, and then, nah. But at one point, it just went like this, guys. I swear to God, it just went like this. That was painful, dude. And I stayed in that, and I felt that for one entire night. The entire night. 5 hours, I think, because I like got up and like smoked more or something. 5 hours, guys, I felt this. And it's like, and then that was one. And then one time I was playing Switch, right? So I'm gonna give you an example. So I was playing like this, right? I was playing Bayonetta, and then I was trying to play, like push one button, but then I felt like the force pushed like this is the button that I'm trying to press, right? This one. And then I was playing whatever, and then the force was just like, it was moving. I felt like it was moving my freaking hands, and I was like, what the hell, and then here, like I was playing, and then I just felt like it was like pushing my fingers away from the button that I wanted to press. That's another story. Another story was when I was, I was getting close, But then the freaking strength, the shadow, it just felt like it was trying to mess me up. So it was so like it like my body began shaking. I felt like if the bed began shaking, and that is because gang stalkers. There's times where I'm like in my car and I'm trying to get off, and I've had gang stalkers shake my car harder so that I won't come. Yeah, but let me tell you, this time I always come. Well, in the beginning, I actually allowed that to stop me. But now, they're there, and I'm like, well, f you guys. I just do it harder. I finish easier if I'm not watching like any type of PORN material. If I just close my eyes and then I just bust out a lot quicker. And let me tell you, I have seen them leave sad when I've heard them say he came. It's like, yeah, and they just like leave. So they've done that so many times, but not anymore. And let me tell you, that last time that would happen, that last time that happened, that someone was shaking my car, I just said out loud, you being there is the only motivation I need for me to shoot my load. I'm gonna come whether you like it or not. You can try whatever you want, but I'm always wanna come. And the fact that you're there makes it even better. And every single time, regardless of how hard they're trying to push, regardless of how this they're trying to do through my tinted window, I always finish, and I always will, in spite of them. That is just out of spite, let me tell you, because I am not gonna allow them to push me over in any way, shape, or form ever again. And I have done that very successfully, let me tell you. Now, following that, sorry, I still have this cold. So, going back to the experiences of the shadow. So that happens, right? Then one time, the first time that this shadow turned into like an entity that I realized was when I was in lunch. I was just done with I was in my lunch at work, and then I was laying in my car. I was trying to nap, and then I just felt like a thing, like a shadow here, and then I began feeling it on my teeth. It was hurting. It was like almost like zapping my gums. But then I felt it like it put its dick in my mouth. And it like went harder, and I felt it like all the way to my throat, and it finished, and I felt like it was so hot, oh my god, that I was like, I can't believe it. And after that, I was just like so turned on that the shadow began to top me, and it topped me for like 3 days. Gang stalkers. So, well, anyways, I feel that maybe when I was asleep, gang stalkers were somehow, when I was in a state of suggestibility, they did that. Like, my roommate, I think, someone must have said it, because that thing effed me for 3 days. For 3 days straight. And that I've shared that story with you guys. It was when it effed me for 3 days, and that was when I was being sensitized to words that are related to sex, like big, long, hard, whatever, when all of that stuff was actually a trigger. Now, so if I was still connected to gang stalking, did you see that white van? I would be like, oh, he's gang stalking me, but I'm so over that. It's kind of beautiful, isn't it? Look at it, it's right there. I don't believe it's gang stalking me, but I used to. Like, there were times where there were a lot of vans around. That shit was crazy. I don't know if they just were. Anyways, now So that happened, and then, well, they F me, so there were times where the sensations, I was like, how can I stop this? Because that was awful. Oh, the first time I felt it, I was driving to Panda Express, and I literally felt a cuff right here. That was the first time I ever like felt it. I felt a cuff on my ankle, guys, while I wasn't in my car. That happened when I was reading for the first time the gang stalking manual. This is when I believed that all the freaking electricity poles, they had some other type of thing, some other type of like way to manipulate people. Like I thought it was like this was a secret. I had no idea it was like a psychological thing. I had no idea then. So then that happened. And then another event was when I was when I was treating, before I had my medicine for my toenail, for my ugly ass toenail, I had I was trying everything. I was trying Vicks Vaporub, and I was putting it on my toenail. But that shit burns. It burnt a lot. But it was adding to the gang stalking sensation. So I put it there, and so like I was focusing on it because it felt weird. It felt tingly. It felt tingly. But then it made me put more attention to it, and then that's when it began getting stronger. So it got so strong, and it wouldn't let me sleep. So I literally had to sleep. I had to sleep like holding my feet. So thank God I'm flexible. So I literally was sleeping like this, like holding my feet, because the only thing that would stop the sensation from actually hurting me was literally getting my nerves occupied with my hand. And there were times where like I literally was covering it, and then the sensation would like move around my hand, and then it would like pull on my toenail. It would just pull on it, and I felt a heat. It was insane. It was so insane. So I'm not glad it happened because that was painful, but I'm glad it happened because I can tell you everything about it. You can understand the reality of this and why people believe that it is a direct energy weapon, because that burns, it can zap you. So I experienced pretty much everything that thing can possibly do. Another time that I told you guys was when I was at the shelter, and then I was just like, I was gonna go pee or something, and I was just walking or wash my hands, and I just felt like a shot, like here, a strong shot of pain, just like boom. And I was like, oh my God, someone. And I looked at the stall, and the stall was closed. And I was like, someone is in there with a freaking direct energy weapon, and they just shot me with it. And I went like, what the fuck? And then I like ran into my room. Oh, that was crazy. So adding to that, so now coming to what else? Let's see. So that happened. Oh, when the thing with the whole this thing happened, I literally didn't play any video games for the longest. I just stopped playing with my Switch because I don't know. I felt like that was done purposely, but the gangstalkers to not make me play to have me not play video games anymore. That's exactly what I felt like. I knew for a fact, even though now I know that it was all in my imagination. I don't know if I was suggested that I wasn't that the shadow was, or the sensation was not going to allow me to play video games, to make it a nightmare. But it was like a little nightmare. And now that I come to it, I was so connected when that happened. Like I come back to it, and I was just connected, like 100, like every being of myself was connected to the entire narrative. Now, oh, let's see, man. I have so many of these stories to tell you guys. So, then one time, this is another time where I was literally just like sitting, like I was finding my feet, And then the sensation, literally, just it was like blades cutting me. And then I imagined, a roller with sand, with sandpaper, and I felt that. And then I imagined a lot of things, and then I kind of began having a conversation because I thought it was like some type of entity. I don't know what it was. I don't know what I was. I know what I was thinking, but I thought that it was like some type of entity or some direct energy weapon that had access to my thoughts. That's exactly what I thought. So then I was like, can you turn into this? And then it would turn into that. And then I would feel it. And then, can you turn into this? And then it would turn into that. So then when I said the whole thing with the cat, I was like, can you turn into a cat? And then it would turn into a cat. And I tried to concentrate on it, and I was so sure that I could feel the pixelation, the digitalization of the sensation. Like, I felt that I could see the definition of it. Like, I could see the pixels. Even though there were no pixels to see, but I felt like there were fucking pixels there. Now that you have that, all those stories, all those experiences, now I can tell you about the mechanics of the shadow. Oh, and okay, well, so through that and experience, and then one day, the last time that the gang stalkers had control over the sensations was when I woke up and my subconscious mind told me the sensations are meaningless and completely random. And then that's when I just woke up. And then they had no control over the sensations. So now, if you're getting gang stalked and you're getting gang stalked hard for a long time, the gang stalkers expect the sensations to come up. And realize that it took like 3 years for gang stalkers to constantly and continuously stalk me before I began feeling the sensations. And after feeling the sensations once, they haven't gone away. There are times where I forget about them. Like today, I felt them like for 5 seconds, but they just don't appear anymore unless I think of them. And the fact that I'm so busy doing this, they're less and less and less. But I think the sensations are forever, not because they have damaged me, but because you remember how it felt. So whenever you remember, they appear. I feel that it is because it is a new sensation that I have a memory of. And I feel like every time I play the memory, I replay the sensations. I can remember how it feels to have it in my ass, and I can make it be in my ass. I can, remember, like I can make it tap me. I have control over it. Not 100%, but it fights me sometimes. It still fights me. It's kind of random, but I have more control over it than I ever have. Now, so the mechanics of the shadow. The shadow, if you do not know that it comes from your own mind, from your own body, it is, or even when you do know that it comes from your own body, it is susceptible to suggestion. The fact that someone said, shit, and I began feeling the shit. The fact that it pounded my ass for 3 days, a gang stalker must have done that. So one time, I was having the narrative of the shadow having sex with me, and I literally felt the shadow pound my ass really hard, and it was so amazing. Oh my God, it was awesome. And then I felt the shit, I felt the blades. So I felt the spiders. So one time I was literally just walking and I felt like spiders and rats fall from the ceiling. But I did nothing because I knew that it was unreal, but it felt real. But and there were times that I would literally just be walking with my sandals, and I would feel it prick my fucking foot, and I would kick my foot away. I would be like, ah! And then like I would like throw my fucking sandal away. And because, this is how much gang stalkers are assholes. Because even someone who I liked, a residential advisor in the shelter, she looked at me and she said, look, I'm looking at my feet, and she went, ah! And she like mocked me, that fucking cunt. Fuck you, cunt, if you're watching this. I hate you. I hope you stay. I'm not gonna say that because I'm not fat phobic, but she was morbidly obese, and I wish that she stays morbidly obese forever. She was this, like, Mexican dyke with like a bunch of tattoos. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I love lesbians. I didn't mean. I take that back. But when you have gone through that, and that was the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest thing that I could make myself feel better. I'm not gonna cut that off because that way that what you see here is not fake. That because that's exactly, it's like I guess when I tell you guys not feel hate, don't feel hate to the entire operation, but feel hate to someone in particular. But it's not a type of hate that is gonna make me plan a revenge. I'm not filled with hate. That just because she was mocking me, so I'm gonna mock her back. And and even that's what infuriates me, is that I was supportive of her when I saw her take the stairs. I was like, I'm super proud of you that even though there's an elevator, you're making an effort to get in better shape. Good for you. And even when I was trying to make her feel better and to support her, she still gave me shit and mocked me. That fucking cunt. Ugh. Anyways, okay. Punto de aparte, I'm over that. But anyways, if you happen to feel that type of insult was directed at you, just know that I am not like that. But it is exactly how I feel. I am not transphobic. I am not fat phobic. In fact, I have dedicated my life to help people. And there is nothing more infuriating that when you are trying to help someone, when you're motivating someone, they turn around and laugh at you, laugh at your demise. So, and I'm gonna tell you that the fact that these people felt so free to make fun of me. And there's cameras all over the freaking shelter. So because she said that, I know that the freaking security guards showed her the video of that happening to me. This is the first time I made that connection. I did not make the connection before. But the staff from the shelter, especially her, saw the videos of me doing that. Like, I'm sure that when that happened, they were like, hey, come here, look, watch this. And they saw me doing that. Because the security staff himself told me in person. I have cameras all over. So, screw you, Father Joe's Village. You guys were all freaking participants in my gang stalking. And let me tell you, you know that you participated in it. And even though I don't hate you, because it cost me $800 to live there for a year, all the staff there was involved. All the staff there. And let me tell you, if any of you is watching this, let me tell you something. Do not give Father Joe's Village any money if you're homeless. Because they're going to tell you, oh, you need money. But in the beginning, when you enter Father Joe's Village, they sign a contract with you. They tell you, we're going to give you housing for a full year. And you don't have to pay a cent. But during it, they're going to try to get money from you. Knowing that you're homeless, I was stupid enough to give them my $800. But it is what it is. They gave me a place to live, but I was better off living here. Even though I have to thank them because it allowed me to see, it allowed me to understand more of gang stalking. It truly, truly, truly did. So only because of that experience, I'm able to share this with you. Because most of the crazy gang stalking happened when I was living there. So even the staff in there was part of it. Ugh. Now, let me share more about the mechanics. The mechanics of the shadow. Since that is the crux of this video. So, I'm going to tell you how to control it. You just try to feel you just think of the sensation being somewhere else. And it's going to fight you at first, but you can't control it. Additionally, the sensation is going to mimic things that you're imagining. So if you're feeling the sensations and you imagine blades, you bet your ass you are going to be feeling blades. If you imagine kitties, you're gonna feel kitties. If you imagine those foam pool noodles, you are going to be feeling pool foam noodles. Also know that sensations are suggestible. So if you're paying attention to the gang stalkers and someone just says shit, or someone says whatever it is, spiders or whatever, you expect to feel that. Expect to feel that sensation sooner or later. But know that it is fake. So be very aware of that. Now, additionally, it is not a direct energy weapon. It is connected to your imagination. It's suggestible even when you know what it is. And it takes form of whatever you're imagining. And this is the thing. Because you believe that gang stalkers have control of it. The thing, the force, the shadow is gonna work with the gang stalking. The gang stalking narrative that you're living. So if you believe that gang stalkers are controlling that, and you feel that they are trying to electrocute you, you are going to feel electricity. Because that is what you are imagining that they're going to do. So they're going to suggest an environment or a narrative, and then you are going to feel it. So one time, I remember I felt a shock. And then a coworker showed me an electricity Pokemon. What that does is that it makes you feel that they did it on purpose, because all of a sudden he's showing you an electric Pokemon. When I said, "Oh, I felt a shock," so what that does is that it kind of appropriate that sensation, and that's trying to suggest to you that they did that to you. And I believe I was looking for cables, and I saw cables there, but they were for the radio. But I felt a shock, but it was on the battery thing, the thing for the battery thing where batteries are at work. So it could have been just a normal shock. However, because I was in the entire gang stalking thing, I literally believe that gang stalkers have to do something with it. So one time when I was really depressed, I felt that the voices were telling me the force. I'm going to tell you later about the force, about the voices and the force. So the voices in the beginning, you attribute without hearing an actual voice, you attribute a voice to the sensation. You give it a persona. The gang stalking persona before you start hearing voices. So first it is the sensation. Then you can talk with the sensation. And so the sensation has a voice already, but you don't hear it. And further down in the gang stalking, it actually has a voice, but the voice is works in tandem with the gang stalkers. So now it is, so the sensation, I mean, the voice, yeah, because remember, gang stalkers can suggest and they can whisper thoughts into your mind. I mean, literally whisper thoughts into your mind, like literally. So when I'm in that state of mind, my ears feel hot, and I feel the vibrations of sounds. So what that happens is that when you're sensitive, when your ears are really sensitive, they, like, your hearing becomes like extraordinary. So then when they whisper things, you literally hear it in a voice in your head. So then this is how the mechanics of the sensations work. So it starts with a sensation, and then the gang stalking kind of starts building its own entity in your head. How you start imagining what the gang stalkers as a unit start thinking. So then you kind of, so because of the narrative that gang stalkers are pushing, you start imagining what the gang stalkers will say. And not only that, but it also follows the narrative the gang stalkers are pushing into your head. So before you hear a voice, I believe, I'm not sure of this yet, I'm not sure, because I have managed to learn how to block all the voices before they're even voices. But they can whisper things during your gang stalking, and it's going to pop. You're gonna feel like it's a new thought. It's gonna flourish in your head. It's not gonna have a voice, but it's gonna pull up a thought from your mind. So you are suggestible even when you are not hearing voices. They can input thoughts into your mind by whispering. That sounds insane, but that's the truth. And that's just how it is. And they know that you can hear them because that's when you start reacting to the whisper. So that's how they test you. They start whispering, and then they see your reaction to the voices. Now, so in the beginning, you feel a sensation, the tingling. Mine began on the foot. And then if you don't pay any attention, if you don't pay any attention to the sensations, it is not going to grow stronger. For the sensation to get stronger, you have to pay attention to it. Now, keeping that in mind, the sensation, let's say let's say, so you give it personality. You do, and the thing is that it does things that gang stalkers do. So, for example, like you assume, you give the gang stalking personality by how gang stalking it goes. So, for example, if I'm masturbating in a stall, so this is what I'm heavily observed. So someone is gonna be looking through the little thing, discreetly, but they're gonna be looking, and then they're gonna like stomp, or they're gonna do the signal, or they're gonna mess with some type of shadow shit. So that implies that gang stalkers want to interrupt my, and they want me to stop that, right? And that is part of the harassment. Remember in the harassment where when I'm close, the gang stalkers will just start talking about disgusting things so that I wouldn't finish. We had that conversation already. And then, so that implies that gang stalkers don't want me to successfully ejaculate, which this act adds to the personality of the gang stalkers, which is what? Gang stalkers want to keep doing that. So the force is gonna take on that is gonna absorb that into a personality. So now I know that gang stalkers don't want me to comfortably finish myself off, because they behave that way. So you're gonna add that fact into the consciousness of that is building into the gang stalking force, the gang stalking personality. Does that make sense? So that's one. Another example, me playing video games. When I had my Switch, I wore down the joysticks. So then I had to put little caps on them. So the gang stalkers would literally, even children were trying to take away the caps for my freaking joysticks. Literally, right in front of me. I've seen them. They would hide them. So then, which means gang stalkers do not want me to be playing video games, right? So guess what? The shadow behaved like that. So it interrupted my gameplay. And so then it took the actions of the gang stalkers and it manifested them as the force. So it took that. So do not play video games, do not masturbate. And when you're connected, so that adds into more of the gang stalking personality. So the treatment and what you think is literally give me 1 second. So, for example, you remember that I felt the cuff around my ankle for the first time? So I felt that I was trapped. And the force manifested as a cuff of the exact thing, the exact symbol that I would think of as I am trapped. Now, remember that gang stalkers say a lot of things with bangings? I'm not sure how many times I have been conditioned like that. Because a lot of times I was not paying attention. I didn't know what was happening. I was so lost. I was so connected that my mind was like somewhere else. I wasn't even aware of the bangings. But as I began to understand, I became more aware of what they were actually doing. Because they would say something and then like I would have a flash of a bad experience. They would just say something, a word, and it would just pull up emotion and thoughts. But now I am able to stay here, to be aware of what's happening around me, to be able to see what they are actually doing, which I was not able to do ever until I began learning more about it. So I have been wanting to tell you on how the actual voice of the gang stalkers, of the whole consciousness of the gang stalkers gets built in your head, and it gets built by how the gang stalkers treat you. You start imagining what would they would say, and that happened, and that imagining what they will say, you're not gonna, most of the targets are not even aware of that, but that happens, and then before you think it to yourself, well, the voice takes over. The voice that is louder than your own inner voice. So you stop hearing your inner voice, and any thought that you have is actually voiced as if we want you to do this. Like let's say that I'm thinking, I feel awful. Your inner voice is gonna tell you, haha, you look awful. Like that. That's just how those are the mechanics of the voice. We already went over them. We might do an in-depth only video of that later. But now I am going through the mechanics of the shadow. So that is exactly how the shadow gets its personality. When it's not being when it is not being used, or when it is being manipulated by suggestibility. When it is not being manipulated by suggestibility. However, when it does, when it is suggested by manipulation, by whispering. No, so remember how the voice that you have built in your head, that you have deemed the center boss, the consciousness of the gang stalkers, now you have given it a voice. Even regardless of you might hear it or not, you have an idea, an imaginative idea of what the gang stalkers want, what they are doing. So whatever it is that you're imagining, remember, the shadow is connected directly to your imagination. So whatever it is that you're imagining, whether or not it is being suggested to you by the gang stalker or not, you are still it's gonna manifest, and you're gonna feel it. So now, this is where it gets crazier. Remember, gang stalkers can whisper thoughts into your mind, right? Now, when this happened, the they literally have a voice in your head. And remember, this voice in your head, regardless of whose voice it might be, is connected directly to the gang stalking sensation. It is actually connected to to all your body. So, and one time the narrative told me, "Oh, you have a bomb on your foot," and I literally felt like, like in anime where, like, when you do like turn signal, the new turn signals that have like a line that like keep turning in one direction, where it's a bunch of lights that flash towards the direction of the turn. So imagine these are my toes, right? Like, these are my toes. So then I feel the energy just go, and it went going faster. As it was counting down, because there was a bomb in Planet Enemy, which was the narrative that was whispered into my mind. Also, I remember the voice told me, "Look outside." Now I know that that's how they were testing if I was hearing voices or not, because I was staying at a hotel. And why else would anyone want me to look out the window? They wanted to look to see if I was following what the voices were saying, because I was locked in a room, but I had my windows open. And when this was happening, so give me one second. So I'm sure there was someone outside waiting for me, seeing if I would look outside the window or not. Because then I remember that said, "Look outside again." And then I looked outside again. Like I was following what the voice was telling me, and that's how they confirmed. Oh shit, he now can hear us. Can hear me. Well, that happened. And I remember that evening got kind of fucking crazy, let me tell you. Because that night I spoke to my dead dad. It was insane. It was a clusterfuck of voices. I feel like everyone in the hotel was whispering things, and I was just receiving all of them. That was intense. It was the most intense night. That was the most intense week that I have ever had with gang stalking. Anyways, well, now because there is a connection with the inner voice and the physiological manifestations of the stress, the shadow, it's gonna do whatever the voice says it's doing. So if it's saying, "Oh, you have a bomb on your toe, on your foot," it's gonna manifest a counter. What you imagine what it meant. Now, it was also telling me, "Now let me control your eyes," and the force was literally moving my eyes. The force can actually control you, like that. That's how they control. Like, they actually control the voice, and the voice moves the force, and it can literally. That's how they can. If you try to feel the sensation, and they're whispering, "Now move this way, move that way," they control you like that. It is actual manipulation of your nervous system. But you have to allow it. One day I was at work, and the voice told me, "Now let me control you." And I did. And then it said, "Now act like a crazy person." While I was at work. Do you think I acted like a crazy person? Nuh-uh. Fuck no. But that's when I was like, okay, this has gone too far. So this is the thing. The fact that I have I'm not a crazy person. I have no idea how a crazy person acts out of comedy. I know how a crazy acting person acts, but you have to allow it to control you. But because there was in my head no idea of how, because I'm not crazy. The sanest person and the most psychologically stable person you're gonna possibly imagine, regardless of not you believing that or not. I have no idea how a crazy person would act. In my opinion, a crazy person would just do nothing. Well, maybe that's why I didn't do anything. Maybe that is my definition of a crazy person, just someone doing nothing. But I was working. But I didn't feel any force. The force was just like gone. Because I have no idea how a crazy person would be. Because I do not consider myself a crazy person in any way, shape, or form. Now, also, well, I'm gonna tell you. Well, on my next video, that's it for the mechanics of the sensations. That is all the information about how the forces work, how the shadow works. If they whisper, now I'm moving your left hand, you're gonna feel the shadow taking over your left hand, and you're gonna feel it move. As simple as that. But it takes years of continuous gang stalking for that to manifest. Anyways, I did not think this video was going to be as long as it turned out. As soon as this is done uploading, I'm going to tell you more on the mechanics of the voices. So now, and the development of their character. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys. Thank you for all the beautiful comments, even for the comments that are saying you need to go see a psychologist. For real. Thank you for the comments. You know, these comments are helping me illustrate what someone speaking about this would go through. So everyone who sees the comments, you know, just know that use the comments as an illustration of what the world actually thinks of you outside of your gang stalking group. People actually understand and they actually believe you. Because I have never listened to how you guys are defending me in the comments. I was moved because I never thought anyone would ever defend me on this. And I am extremely appreciative of that because, you know, I just didn't think that was going to happen. I didn't think that I was going to be supported by you guys. But at least you guys know that I'm sane. I'm recounting my experience to you. I am recounting from the time that I knew, well, that I was crazy, but I didn't know, to now where I knew that I was actually crazy. And now I actually worked myself back into sanity, and I am telling you how that actually was like. Thanks to that experience, including being at Father Joe's village, now I understand that was part of so this video would have not happened if I would have never been at the village. So thank you to other gang stalkers if you're watching, because now apparently I made some posts on my social media with the logo of the gang stalking playbook. So maybe they already saw it, maybe not. But this message is for the gang stalkers. If you're watching this channel would have not been a reality if it wasn't for you gang stalking me. So you might think that you are entitled to my hate, but no. If it wasn't for you, none of this would be possible. So I thank you for that. Thank you so fucking much. Bye, guys. Oh, wait. Please like, share, subscribe. Questions. If you feel like there's something else to ask, if you feel that there is something that you want to ask, please ask. I'm gonna get to it. Additionally, Give me 1 second. Welcome to all the new followers. Um, there's so many all of a sudden. I'm super thankful and grateful, and also